Okay, so something happened, and I don't know what it is, but that's a part two. Maybe the first part won't be seen. I do not know. Anyways, I'm waiting for the guest to arrive again. So I'll just do a little song. Tupa tupa pupa tupa. Come on, baby, let's get super. Okay. Yeah, okay, the first part is viewable, so you can go there and see it. But this is the second part. I should have waited until he got here. Oops.
We in there, fam?
Yes, we're in here, yay! And the first part I think is viewable, so we can just continue.
Woo!
So, who's your waifu?
I am currently swapping between two waifus. Bayonetta has been my waifu since about 2009, and continues to be my waifu. However, from Nephany from Fire Emblem Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn has always been my favorite character from Fire Emblem because she's always been in my squad. Like no matter what, I've always had her because she's like the best spear user. So Nephany and Bayonetta. Well, right now I've been playing Bayonetta in Smash, so I'm going to go with Bayonetta as my waifu.
Okay. Just a minute. Sorry for this. Just a minute. You're one of those autistic weirdos, huh?
Yeah, I'm one of those autistic weirdos.
Would you like to talk about that?
Yeah. Let's talk about it a little bit. Like, what do you want to know about me?
I don't know. Just anything you want to say?
I've always found it interesting that autistic people and gamers intersect a lot. I don't know what that's about. I think part of it is the early nerd culture and autistic people being a part of early nerd culture. And that's a whole nother thing about how autists are almost always nerds. I also think that part of it is that there's a lot of systems at work, and there's a lot of detail and a lot of knowledge that you can get within a video game, like even one single video game. And autistic people are obsessed with having as much knowledge about a singular thing as possible. At least I am. So that's how I've always seen it. I've always seen it as me fitting into that because, I mean, even taking a game like Fire Emblem, like you have to take into account the weapon triangle. You have to take into account in each Fire Emblem game has a different magic system. Like normally you had just the normal fire, electric, wind, but then there's also in some of them light and dark, and then sometimes it's different depending on what game, like what beats what, and like sometimes fire will beat dragons as well, and thunder will beat other, I don't know. So like being able to have that obsessiveness about video games fits right into the autistic Asperger-y stuff, for me at least.
Yeah, you certainly sound like a weird autistic freak of some kind.
Well, I thank you, I think.
That is a compliment, as this being a sweetheart.
Oh, thank you.
Anyways, so, oh, this is what got me off frazzled. Okay, let's see. I just asked you about Gamergate. So, when did you first hear about Gamergate, and what did you think?
So, I first heard about Gamergate like right as it started. I was actually there from the very beginning. I was subscribed to Internet Aristocrat, who I had subscribed to before Gamergate. I don't remember where I found him from, but the whole Quinspiracy thing was, I was there when it was just Quinspiracy, and then it got transformed into Gamergate. Basically, I had noticed on my own that gaming journalism was crap for years, really. I had boycotted Kotaku since probably 2011. Um, I've always had this problem with video games journalism not really being journalism, not really advocating for consumers, and not even advocating for its own industry. I've yet to see a single good piece on what actually happens inside of a video game company, like even just going into something as big as EA and just really walking through the day. Like I still don't really know like what happens, like what are the day-to-day processes and what keeps happening. Like I hear things about people being underpaid and overworked and being treated wrong, especially with the recent Konami thing, treating their employees terribly. There's been rumblings about Rockstar treating their employees horribly back when Red Dead Redemption was a thing.
Really? I don't remember that.
Yeah.
What did it do?
See,
Just a little bit.
this is the thing, is that this stuff was so underreported, and what was reported terribly. None of this stuff was really covered correctly. And if we had a gaming journalism industry that wasn't so obsessed with making sure that there's women in gaming, and that we're not having minorities in gaming, we would have them covering these controversies about game companies really not treating their developers well. They're not treating their employees well. That's something that I'm very interested in. I've never seen it done correctly. I've never seen it covered in a way that's really substantive or really worth noticing. And it's a shame, because I would really like to know more about the people that create these games, and not just the big names like David Jaffe or Tim Schafer or Jade Raymond or any of the big names. I want to know about the rank and file and what they go through and what that's all about. I think that's an interesting story, but we don't have people that are willing to research this stuff, that are willing to do it, because they're so obsessed with these progressive politics. They don't even want to deal with it. They don't think that's an interesting story, and I think that's a shame. So that's why I've always hated gaming journalism. And when Gamergate hit, like it felt like that finally somebody else out there has the same complaints that I do, that other people actually recognize that gaming journalism is crap. It's so bad. They don't cover anything substantive. They don't really do anything. Their reviews are horrible. I don't know anybody who really followed these gaming websites past like 2006, when I still followed IGN for gaming reviews. The real interesting stuff is probably in the industry and in how these employees are being treated, but nobody covers it, and nobody did cover it. And when we finally get the chance to fight back against this obsession over feminism and progressive politics and all this stuff that doesn't really matter to the industry, it was a relief to finally hear this being talked about, to finally have it out in the open, to have other people other than me really discussing it. It was like a breath of fresh air, and it was a relief. It felt like finally somebody actually feels the way that I do. It was a sense of camaraderie that I haven't felt before about this topic. And so for me, that's what was so important about it, is that when Gamergate finally hit, I finally saw people thinking the exact same thoughts that I was thinking, that they were having the same complaints that I were, that there was wide recognition that the state of journalism of the gaming industry is bad. It's not just bad, it is horrible, it is biased, and it is rigged. So
basically, you felt like suddenly you weren't crazy anymore, because people were like, hey, this is true. You're not crazy, I'm not crazy. They're the ones who are crazy.
Exactly. It felt like I'm feeling like I'm taking crazy pills for a while. Like, does nobody else see this inherent bias towards covering it from a feminist slant or from a progressive slant? Does nobody see that these things being written aren't interesting? That most of this stuff is just PR shilling? That most of this stuff is like reviews that don't actually cover any of the technical aspects, that just do like very basic bullshit. Um, I it was really a nice breath of fresh air to really see that people actually had gripes with gaming journalism, and for that I'm so grateful to be able to see that other people had the complaints that I did.
Yeah, it's uh, it's very annoying when you feel like everyone's against you, but then people come along and are like, "Hey, come on, let's have a fun time and fight against it." It's
Yeah,
like, "Dude,
that's the other interesting thing about Gamergate is that it's like I wasn't using Twitter really for anything. Um, Gamergate kind of really revitalized Twitter for a lot of people who had no interest in it before. I mean, I personally had never even heard of shit posting before, so being able to dive into that is so much fun. Being able to just talk to people and tell stupid jokes and spread dumb memes. It's a lot of fun, and
yeah,
I love that about Gamergate. That oftentimes we know how to have fun. We know how to not take things too seriously.
that's true." Although some do take it too seriously, and I just say, "Hey, that's stupid. Don't be bad, be good," and then we're all like, "Yay!"
Yeah, it's especially with the way that things are going right now. Um, we've sort of lost that base camaraderie. We've splintered. We sort of become what we hate most, which is this sort of splintered, uh, petty infighting that doesn't accomplish anything. It doesn't do anything. It's people drawing lines again. I like to think that I've never been too into that. Who knows, there might be something in my Twitter history that shows that I am, but generally I flip through all sorts of different what people will call Gamergate clicks. Like I flipped through the sort of Hug Patrol click that was just sort of like dumb, fun, cute animal posting and memes. I flipped through the more trolly aspects of it that were, a little darker and a little more almost anonymous 4chan style ops of sorts. I flipped through the more ethics focused side of it, that was really about sending emails and doing crowdfunding campaigns for legal fees for people like Aaron Yoni, if I'm pronouncing that right, and for getting people to SPJ Airplay. I flipped through the anti-progressive, anti-feminist part of it, where you have people like Sargon of Akkad, Karen Strawn, Honey Badgers, really starting a whole new wave of classic liberalism. So I've been in every single camp. I don't align myself with any camp. The only thing that I align myself with is the idea that gaming journalism needs fixing. So it's sometimes disheartening to see people be so insistent on drawing these lines. Like they have to know what everyone's affiliation is and what their idea of everything is. When honestly, that part doesn't really matter. That's not the part that matters about Gamergate. The part that matters is that there is one idea that we all agree on, and that's that gaming journalism has been corrupt, it's been broken, and it's been useless for years. For years.
This is very
And
true.
it's very true. And I would love to see that refocusing on just that one idea. Like I don't really care about like if people want to police pronouns or if people want to call transgender people men in dresses or liberals or conservatives or progressives or feminists. I don't really care. It's a shame that like I have my own personal opinions on it, but that's not the part that really matters. The part that really matters is that there's fixing that needs to be done. And I think that if we can really refocus on the fixing and not these sort of dumb little quarrels, we could get a lot more stuff done. I'm actually kind of excited for I don't know if you've heard of this, Otter Jesus, torrential downpour.
Um, I've heard of it, but I can't remember what it is. Would you like to explain?
So basically, it's a hashtag to sort of spread the awareness that Nintendo Treehouse has been censoring, altering uh, Nintendo games like Fire Emblem Fates for
Yeah, I've heard
toward
about that so much. I'm
yeah,
starting to
yeah.
get sick of it.
Like honestly, if we weren't so distracted by each other's own dumb political bullshit right now, there would
Uh,
be there would be three different email campaigns being sent out: one to Nintendo Treehouse, one to Nintendo of America, one to Nintendo of Japan. Um, we don't have any of those. The only thing we have is the op torrential downpour hashtag. Um, you would be seeing a lot more activism on that part. You'd be seeing folks who don't really do much anymore. People like Short Fat Otaku, who I actually liked for a long while. I would love to see them dig, and because they used to be really good at digging. Camera Lady, if you ever see this, please dig into Nintendo Treehouse and see what you can find. Because I think there's a lot of stuff there, a lot of people with inherent political bias that are writing or doing a quote localization unquote, which seems to be really just politically biased writing and mistranslation in order to fill out an agenda of sorts, which is a real shame because I love Fire Emblem. I love Fire Emblem. And I haven't gotten to a 3DS because of this translation stuff. I was thinking about it. I'm not getting it now. Not with. I remember reading the Twitter account of this one lady who works at Nintendo Treehouse, and she was like talking about how like video games aren't important and how they're stupid and how nerds suck. And it's like, why do these people have jobs in these places? Why are they doing this if they hate it so much? How did they
well, it
get
doesn't
there?
make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
But
Um,
there is an important distinction to make that this is something that's happened a long time. Like with the Final Fantasy games, they change things and stuff. But this is getting weird though with how they're like, hey, let's just change everything for no reason.
yeah, it's
There is a line to be drawn for localization. But when it gets weird like this, it's starting just to be like, what? Why are you doing this?
yeah.
Uh,
Localization is tricky. You're right, Otter Jesus. Localization is tricky because there are certain things that just do not literally and figuratively translate into English and into American culture. Um, Stuff like there's people in the mainstream Nintendo audience that don't know what a senpai is. So if people like me who are dumb stupid otakus and weeaboos do get that, but it's not going to make sense to the mainstream audience. So you have to compromise in certain places like that. You can't just put senpai in Fire Emblem. However, you also have on the other end these people putting in "rawr, that's dragon for I love you." Like that's awful writing, first of all. And then you also have stuff that's just like, especially if you remember the prison school. I think that's the name of the anime.
yeah,
Talking
that
about
one.
Gamergate creeps.
Yeah.
Yeah. So while I can understand that there's localization is tricky, it's also not that difficult in that you shouldn't be putting your own political bias in there.
Well, you should
It's
be
not
good at what you're doing. They shouldn't just hire you because you write stuff on Literotica and you write lots of sexy stuff.
literotica, fanfiction.net.
Yeah.
Please sponsor Otter Jesus. No,
No, don't do that. That's bad.
no. So it's. I understand that it's a delicate balance, but I also understand that localizers are not, the main creative team behind the game. The
Yeah.
Japanese devs and writers are. Your job as a localizer is to make it as accessible as possible, not to put your own spin on it. There's leeway here and there, because that's just how it is. You're gonna put your own spin on it because everything is subjective and you are your own person. But to a certain extent, you also have to do your job. And these people aren't doing their job. They're trying to push an agenda and to do something that really doesn't need to be done.
Well, it sounds like they're trying to make the game seem like shit so no one likes it, and they'll never make any more.
That might be it. Like you see that pretty often with this feminism, social justice warrior stuff. They, oh god, I fucking hate Vox Day and everything that he stands for, but he's right way too often for me to ignore him. He's right in that what social justice warriors do is they infiltrate and they destroy every single thing that they infiltrate. You see it in comic books. You see it in video games. You see it in atheism. They go. You see it in free BSD, in development communities, open source development communities. They go in.
Basically.
Yeah, they go in. They contribute nothing of use. They demand things be changed. Everything is changed. Everything is destroyed, and then they leave again. It's madness, and I don't understand why people just don't tell these people no. That's all you have to do. It's not difficult. Just say no.
But then everyone goes, no, wow, in the fight. And it's like, punch you, and it's have sex with your sister. But no, never mind. Anyways, I think we should move on.
Okay.
Because this is not just about Gamergate, it's about people getting to know who you are.
Okay.
But first, I want to ask you something about me.
Okay.
When did you first hear about Otter Jesus, and what did you think?
So I remember in the early days, there was a lot of different stuff. One of the early contentions against Gamergate is that it was a harassment movement against women. And it was funny because I remember seeing all around Gamergate, Gamergate Hug Patrol. At the time, it was Otter Jesus, and it was Margaret Gell, and it was a couple other people as well. And like I kept thinking to myself, well, that doesn't seem right when there's an entire subsection clique of the group that is literally a hug patrol. I remember seeing that. I remember thinking, oh, that's nice. Maybe I'll follow them, and maybe I'll hug patrol myself a bit. So I remember thinking that, like, oh, that's nice. That's really nice. I'm glad that there's a hug patrol. I'm glad that there is a Otter Jesus to do hugging and patrolling.
Yes, fun. I enjoyed it, and then I kind of was like, hey, I'm a bad boy. I'm gonna do bad things and disagree with people.
Yeah, it's okay. I like the, because you can do both. You can do a hug patrol, and you can also be a hug troll. You can be a troll and a hug patrol.
A hug patrol troll.
Exactly.
Yay. Anyways, okay, so what is your favorite movie?
Young Frankenstein, by far. Like that's the movie that always pops in my head. Super funny movie. Genius directing, acting, great use of Marty Feldman is so good in that movie. If you've never seen Young Frankenstein, watch it like as soon as you can.
I have, but I don't remember very much about it. I do remember the part where they're like, okay, walk this way, and then they walk funny, and then they walk funny too.
Yeah. Oh god, I love that movie. It's so good.
And then the one woman is like, are you ready for a roll in the hay? Roll, roll, roll in the hay.
Oh, did you know that they actually made a musical of that movie?
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it wasn't very good.
Anyways, so yeah, okay, that's your favorite movie, huh? Okay.
Yes.
What's your favorite TV show?
Oh god. Uh, uh,
Name five.
Probably right now I'm super obsessed with Star Trek, Next Generation and Deep Space Nine. It aligns with a lot of my moral beliefs in like what they sort of talk about and what they do. And I also love aliens, so Star Trek's probably up there for me.
Okay. What is your favorite video game?
It technically is Vanquish, which is made by the same company, Platinum Games, that made Bayonetta. Bayonetta has been my game of the year for 6 years running. However, Vanquish is probably my favorite game, just on a personal level, because the first time I played it, I think the very first thing I did was do a slow motion rocket propelled power slide, shotgun blast into a robot's face.
Yeah, that's cool. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, the way I've described Vanquish is it's Gears of War if Gears of War was good.
Yeah, because Gears of War sucks like shit.
It's Gears of War is pretty bad. Vanquish is pretty amazing.
That's cool. That's a good game, I guess. I never played it, but maybe someday.
If you have a 360 or PS3 lying around, pick up a copy of Vanquish. It's probably like $20 right now. On Amazon or eBay or in a GameStop bin somewhere. I would love for them to port that to PC. That game would be beautiful in 60 frames per second. Oh God.
Would you like to make a sequel?
Yes, I would love a sequel of that game. My problem with sequels is that I'm always scared they're going to be bad. So I would rather see a 60 frames per second port to PC first to prove that they can do it, and then Vanquish to the Vanquishing on PC, and then just more slow motion rocket propelled power slide shotgun or rocket launcher blasts. Just more of that would be great.
What did you think of Bayonetta 2?
I haven't actually had the chance to play Bayonetta 2 yet. I don't have a Wii U.
Master!
I really, 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 really want to play that game, though. I really want to.
Anybody who watches this, please bully him. He's bad. He must get a Wii U and play Bayonetta 2.
Don't bully me. Just dox me a Wii U and Bayonetta 2, please.
No bully, just Wii U and Bayonetta 2. Okay, that's good. Do you like pineapple on pizza?
No.
Oh, why not?
I don't like it. It's I don't like it. I'm sorry. I can't budge on that position, Otter Jesus.
But it tastes so good.
So I'm not gonna like get on anybody's case about it. I'm gonna let them enjoy their pineapple on pizza. They can have that. I will not have that. That's gonna be on them. That's not that everyone has their sins to carry. That's their sin, but that's not my sin to carry.
Oh, that's not a sin. It's just food.
Well, it's a sin, but I'm not going to split pineapples here.
Split pineapples? Oh, that's funny. Wait, is it? I can't tell. Anyways, so what if Zelda was Bumblebee from Transformers?
What if Zelda was Bumblebee from Transformers?
Oh.
It would be a pretty different game. I don't think Zelda could be like my waifu at any point if that were the case. I don't think I would like Zelda or Transformers anymore if that were the case.
Oh, well, but like think of it like this. So Zelda is like the Bumblebee Transformer. It's like, hey Link, come on, let's fight Ganondorf. And then Link's like, but I can't get anywhere with you because you're a robot. And then Zelda's like, haha, I'm actually a car. Bing, 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 bing.
Oh, you know what? You're right. I did not think about that way. Because oh god, like in Twilight Princess when you could like fight on your horse.
Yeah.
But if you were fighting inside of a Transformer in a car.
In a car, you're like driving in the car. It's like, hey, I'm gonna get you, slice.
Drive by hook shots. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the best.
That would be fucking sweet.
This is the most amazing thing ever, and I'd like to thank Nintendo for the check in the mail someday.
That would be awesome, actually. Drive-by hook shots. Oh god, and what if you could pull the other guy from like outside of their car using your hook shot into your car, into Bumblebee, and then you like kick them out of their car. Oh, that would be fucking sweet. Yeah, I'm into that. No, I'm into that. I'm into that now. You're right. You're right, Otter Jesus.
Okay, I think we're kind of getting close to the end of the show, but I don't know how long this has been going. So we'll just keep talking for a little bit, okay?
Okay, that's fine. I think it's going for like 25 minutes, maybe.
Okay. Including the first part?
Yeah, that's including the first part.
Okay, so maybe another 5 minutes. Um,
Okay.
we were talking before the show about something I said with like Wolverine possibly the Wolverine 3 being rated R and how Fox is just like, hey, let's just make everything rated R now. And
Hmm.
then you had a thought about that, huh?
Yeah. So there's a there's this thought process that I tend to have regarding art making and art craftsmanship, which is that sometimes in the right circumstances, boundaries, barriers, and obstacles can lead to more creativity. Um,
I love you
the
and I
most
want you to marry me.
I mean, I've always felt that way. Like even with acting stuff. So like especially like the most famous example is Star Wars. Like they didn't have a lot of technology. They didn't
Yeah.
have like the CG that we have nowadays. And the first three Star Wars films were great. And then you move on to the prequel trilogy, and they're a complete ass, despite them having all this technology, all of this CG. It doesn't fix the basic things that are wrong about those movies.
They're not
So,
that bad though.
well, I mean, they're pretty bad. So when you have those obstacles, it forces you to be creative, and it forces you to do things that you would not normally do. And I think that's where the real craftsmanship of art in like any art form really comes from. Like Bob Ross says, there's no they're only happy little accidents. Sometimes the things that go wrong can be the best things that happen in your thing,
Yeah.
whatever it is. So bringing that back to the R-rated stuff, when something is rated PG-13, there are boundaries, there are obstacles, there are limits that you have in a PG-13 movie that you can't do in an R-rated movie.
Yeah.
I think, though, that there is potential to be very creative with those things, though. There are ways to circumvent that, and there are ways to sort of change the tone of the film to fit that, to make it its own thing. You see that in the 90s Bond films. GoldenEye, for example, I think hit a really nice balance between being, violent and sexy and mature, but also being, cheesy and having humor, and having accessibility. And I don't think that movie was harmed by being a PG-13 film. I think that having that limitation, so that way you don't have Bond going around, sleeping with every single woman he sees, like explicitly. He does sleep with every single woman he sees in that movie, I think.
But not like in Crank, where they're like, hey, let's have sex in front of all these people.
Yeah, it's not explicit. It's kind of classy, and it's tasteful almost in a trashy way, in a campy way. That's really what PG-13 is. It allows you to do camp. R-rated, it's a lot harder, in my opinion, to be campy. What I would call a PG-13 game would be Metal Gear Solid 3. That game is PG-13 for sure. It's rated M, but if you made a movie out of it, that movie would be PG-13.
Yep.
So I think that PG-13 and camp is so underrated. It's such an underrated way to make a film or a story. I think if people sort of realize that you can do things in PG-13 that you can't do in other things, you don't need to think of it as a limitation. You need to think of it as a sort of what's the word? Sort of like a mold.
Yeah.
You could do things in a PG-13 way that sort of creates its own style.
Well, like,
and
let me say something real quick. Like, I just see R-rated movies, and it's like, okay, if that's what they wanted to do, but then sometimes it's like, we're doing an R-rated movie, so make it R-rated. Then it's like, But they're not doing what they want to do, they're doing what they're being told to do. So it's like lots of sex and nudity, yay, lots of swears.
Yeah, that's a good point. And I think, because I know you talk about this a lot on Twitter about Deadpool. I think I haven't seen the film yet, but from the way that it's been described, yeah, I think they could have made just as good a movie, in a PG-13 setting, if they kicked up the camp and they kicked up the humor of it rather than the violence and the sex.
Well, that's not what I was exactly saying. I'm fine with it being rated R if it's for violence and stuff, because that's like Deadpool, his violent guy, but there's like sex and nudity and lots of swears, and so this just seems kind of dumb. Why are they
Oh,
pushing it so hard?
I see what you mean. Like, just because something is rated R doesn't mean you have to take it to the extreme. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, basically, because that seems like what it was. So, like, let's just push it to the max.
Yeah, I can see how that can be. Oh God, I almost said problematic. I almost said that. But
It's okay to say that because it makes sense here.
Yeah, I can see how that might be a problematic mindset. That once you are in that category, you may want to start kicking it up a notch when you don't really need to.
Yeah. And that's what it looks like they're doing now, because they're like, oh, it's rated R. We must make the Wolverine rated R.
Oh yeah.
Why?
Yeah, I'm going to try and see Deadpool the next week, and I'm going to try and make a judgment on whether they overdid it or not. But I don't know. I hope
Let
they
me know,
didn't.
because I'm not watching it. I'm not wasting money on something I don't even want to see.
I will make sure that you know. I will tell you. I will report to you.
Okay. So I think we're getting close to the end. But first, Base Stitch wants me to ask, who is best Miguka?
Best. How do you how do you how do you spell that? I don't even know what that is.
Okay, let me just put it here. See, there you go.
Oh God, I don't think I know what a Meguka is.
Oh no.
I'm a terrible weeaboo. That's a Madoka Magica. What's the main character? The pink haired one. She's the best one because she is, she's magical girl Jesus. So she's the best one.
That's bad. Well, anyways, anything else you'd like to say?
Find a copy of Vanquish and play it, and don't be so fucking autistic about Gamergate. Like, actually try and focus.
And I just want to say, make sure that you're having fun with Gamergate, because it can be very fun.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're not fun, then people leave because they're like, I don't like this.
Yeah.
And autistic geeks matter, right, huh?
Yes. Autistic lives matter no matter what Megaphone says.
Yay! Well, this is the end of the show. Thanks for coming. Sorry for the problems earlier. I'll probably re-upload this video later and cut off this last little part where I talk about how I'm going to re-upload it.
It's no problem. It's been my absolute pleasure, Otter Jesus.
Hooray! I enjoyed having you on too.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.